Hello and welcome. Cracking is one of the most important problems in metal printing, and it occurs via multiple mechanisms. So, there is no unified method to mitigate cracking. In our most recent paper in ActaMate that one can freely download from the link given in the description of this video until 25th February 2022, we show that even without knowing the exact mechanism, we can use existing data and a heat transfer and fluid flow model in a machine learning framework to avoid cracking and to assess which variables are most important and which variables are less important. Please allow me to explain. Look at the crack in the printed metallic part. Such cracks can be very long and deep inside the part. There are many complex mechanisms that result in cracks. For example, spatial and temporal variations in temperature field often result in stresses that may cause cracking. Liquid metal shrinks during solidification, and the shrinkage may form cracks. Cracks may start from the grain boundary of two adjacent columnar grains. Ductility deep cracking, reheat cracking, and strainage cracking also may occur in the solid state. Printed metallic parts with cracks exhibit poor tensile and fatigue properties. Some internal cracks can be repaired by post-processing, such as hot isostatic pressing. However, these processes increase the cost. So, mitigation of cracks in metal printing remains a big challenge to the materials community.
Three mitigation strategies have been suggested for the prevention of cracks in additive manufacturing. Do you know what is common among them? All these processes are targeted towards the promotion of equivalent grains. You see, metallurgists have long known that microstructures containing equivalent grains with more number of grain boundaries helps to prevent cracks. In the first process, equivalent grains are formed by using inoculants which has low lattice misfit with the primary grains. This technique has been used in the casting industry for many decades. In this process, see the figure on left, alloy powders decorated with numerous inoculant particles are used. These particles provide the nucleation sites for the formation of equilax grains. For example, additions of scandium, zirconium, and tantalum are being used for the crack-free printing of aluminum. But it is difficult to obtain such inoculants with low lattice misfit for most of the commercial alloys. Also, the amount and size of these inoculants are obtained by trial and error. Inoculants like scandium and tantalum are too expensive to be a practical choice. The second technique is to break up the columnar grains by using high-intensity ultrasound. But this process is inconvenient as in most commercial machines there is not enough space in the deposition chamber to accommodate the additional ultrasound equipment. Also, the ultrasound frequency and amplitude are determined by trial and error. The third technique is to optimize process parameters in order to optimize the solidification parameters so that equivalent grains form. But the large number of these process parameters are difficult to be optimized by trial and error. Due to the shortcomings of these three techniques, here we present our alternate approach of using physics-informed machine learning for crack-free metal printing.
Here we use data and mechanistic modeling in a machine learning framework for avoiding cracking in metal printing. We compute several variables responsible for cracking from a heat transfer and fluid flow model for printing of aluminum alloy parts. The hierarchical contributions of the important causative variables are uncovered by several machine learning algorithms. The methodology using data and results of a physics-based model in a machine learning framework can provide a cracking susceptibility index, which helps to prevent cracking. We also generate easy to use crack susceptibility maps so that cracking may be prevented.
Cracking of additively manufactured metallic parts is a persistent problem, and it occurs by multiple mechanisms, depending on the process parameters and alloy properties. I have listed many of those here, such as the laser power and scanning speed, but if I count the total number of variables, I find 12 variables. So if I wanted to investigate this problem experimentally, I will need 2 to the power 12 or 4096 experiments using a two-factor design of experiments. And this is very expensive and time consuming. So if we look at the peer-reviewed literature, we find that the cooling rate during solidification is often mentioned because it determines the scale of the microstructure, and the ratio of the temperature gradient to solidification growth rate determines the morphology, which is often tied to cracking. And during solidification, in the initial phase, the solid fraction is low, and so the liquid can be transported to the two-phase region and can relax the two-phase region. But towards the end, the high solid fraction obstructs the free transport of liquid to the crack site, and therefore the ratio of the vulnerable and relaxation times are also found to be a causative variable in the literature. And of course, everything depends on the solidification stress. So if we take these four causative variables instead of all the raw variables, I get four mechanistic variables that are related to cracking. So in order to analyze this problem based on these four variables, we will need 16 data points following the two-factor design of experiments. And these parameters can be computed using a heat transfer and fluid flow model. CSI, or crack susceptibility index, is correlated with values of these four parameters that are obtained by running a heat transfer and fluid flow model. And using the data set of over 100 cases, we can develop a correlation between crack susceptibility index and these four variables. Using a linear regression, the higher values of crack susceptibility index means the higher probability of a sample developing cracks. Also, if we look at the hierarchy of these four variables, we find that the solidification stress is the most important variable, and the least important variable is the cooling rate. We have a set of more than 100 data points. Each data point includes a set of process variables and also calculated value of the cracking susceptibility index. And we plot them in this diagram where we have the serial number of the data 1, 2, 3, 4 until about 104 or so for all these alloys, and for each of the data we have a computed cracking susceptibility index using the equation that we just showed. And we are now plotting each data. So we have a crack susceptibility index, CSI, and a serial number. These red colored points that have higher cracking susceptibility index had cracks. And the blue ones, we did not detect any cracks. This plot considers various alloys and different printing conditions, and the CSI is very user-friendly and it is verifiable, because if the cracking susceptibility index CSI is higher than about 0.5, we actually observe cracks. And it is computed from four mechanistic variables. And process variables are related with cracking data via a mechanistic model. The CSI is very user-friendly and people can use it in the shop floor. We can also produce maps in which we can correlate the raw variables, which is what we have to deal with on the shop floor. So here we plot laser power and preheat temperature, and we plot different contours of CSI. If the CSI values are much lower than 0.5, we expect that these samples will not crack. So maps of this type, we can select conditions to avoid cracking. When we try to solve an important problem in manufacturing, what have we done in the past? We often looked back and saw what actually worked. And in this case, additive manufacturing is relatively new, so we look at its close cousin, welding, that has a long history of solving important problems. What we find is that welding has a very rich knowledge base created by doing experiments, by trial and error. What's the problem in applying this technique in additive manufacturing? Additive manufacturing is a very expensive process, and it takes a lot of time and money to do the right type of testing. So it is expensive and time consuming. And so there is an opportunity here. We can integrate technology that we did not have in the past. The emerging powerful tools of mechanistic modeling and machine learning can avoid the trial and error testing, and so we can arrive at the solution rapidly, and most important, the solution would be based on scientific principles. The approach we tested in this paper has two very distinct benefits. First, using the process maps that we were able to create, engineers can choose the right process parameters to minimize defects. So quality improvements is one of the benefits. Second, material selection. Based on the scientific principles, we could evaluate what happens when we use different alloys, and all these are done virtually without the expense of actually testing many samples. So definitive material selection without trial and error based on scientific principles is a big benefit that would expedite the certification process for new parts. We have shown that by combining mechanistic modeling and machine learning, important problems of 3D printing can be solved. If this approach can be proven for solving other important problems of additive manufacturing or 3D printing, or for other manufacturing technologies, then a completely new path for maturing technologies will open up. It would not be important to have big test facility or specialized equipment. Anyone with an inexpensive laptop that wants to contribute, has some ideas, can test out their ideas, and the attributes that divide us, our race, religion, ethnicity, or nationality, whether we do our research in Bangladesh or Bangalore or Abuja, Nigeria, or at University Park where our offices are, will not matter. Everyone that wants to contribute will be able to contribute. Researchers without expensive facilities will have equal opportunity to contribute, and their work will benefit everyone, and the world would be a more inclusive place. More of our research is available at our website, which is shown here, our LinkedIn page, our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for listening.